Morning world, it's 10 a.m. on Sunday the 13th September 2020. As I speak, the moon in the sky is around 26 degrees of Cancer. It's just opposing Saturn and Pluto. It was opposing Jupiter over the last few hours. It's also squaring Mars, and of course Mars is now stationary, going retrograde and squaring Saturn and Pluto. Astrologically speaking, this is as tough as it gets. Now, I've got a couple of big announcements to make straight after this, so I'm going to keep this brief because I want to get these announcements in. I know a lot of you drop off around about 4 minutes, so I want to sort of condense this. We're in the middle of a 6 to 7 month period of Mars squaring Pluto from Aries to Capricorn. Individuality, identity and self versus the larger collective, the group, the governance, and the needs and the desires of the individual, human rights, personal freedoms, are fighting against the unstoppable urge towards a more homogeneous sense of collective community, even if that collective community is kind of enforced. So there's a lot of irritation out there between people trying to make their own lives and doing things their way regardless of what the community says, but there's also a big push for the community to sort of impose its boundaries and structures onto individuals. For example, lockdown, wearing masks, etc. during the pandemic. It doesn't help that Mars is also now retrograde squaring Saturn. But this will be the final time when Mars stops squaring Saturn, which will be a month from now. Then it won't square Saturn again until both planets have changed sign. Mars will square Saturn again in early January, when Mars will be in Taurus and Saturn will be in Aquarius, and that is a very different ballgame. And I will do some stuff on Jupiter, Saturn moving into Aquarius soon. Meantime, there's this seemingly insistent, consistent, pervasive energy of irritation, impatience, frustration, anger. Retrograde Mars in Aries, square all these planets in Capricorn, and today with the moon there, it's like emotionally it's a potential time for big challenges and difficulties. Right, now this is what the astrology says. And most astrologers would look at a pattern such as there is in the sky now and go, whoops, hide under the bed. To which I would say, yeah, but the bed will collapse on top of you. You can't avoid this. The energies are being pushed out there. They are out there in the sky. So you can't avoid it. Things are going to happen. So it's not a question of negating things. It's a question of working with them. So you either use the energy or it uses you. And if you use it, you can get things done. And if you don't use it and it uses you, then you get bumps, bangs, burns, bruises, broken bones, accidents, clumsiness, irritation, etc., etc. So the number of times in recent weeks I've seen people doing what would, to most astrologers, seem crazy, as in beginning new projects, launching new businesses, when the aspects in the sky are really difficult, and yet it seems to work. There's a case for saying when the energy's out there and it's really strident and fierce and strong, but if you can grab that energy and work with it and flow with it and dance with it as it moves along, then you're in a very good position to make the best of this. So you have to ask yourself, whose life is it anyway? Are you controlled by external influences, whether it be the planets, the government, other people's opinions? Or are you in charge of your own life and you do things for you at the time that you feel right because you want to? Obviously, from an astrological perspective, there's a couple of things, like you don't do it on a void moon and you don't do it on a Mercury retrograde, which incidentally will be starting 2 or 3 weeks' time, but another story. Come back to that one in a few days' time. Right now, the moon's in Cancer, square Mars, opposite Jupiter, opposite Saturn, opposite Pluto. So I launched my new website yesterday, stevejudd.co. It's out there, it's live, and I'm starting my new teaching course this week for beginners initially, module 1 of 3. This one's just about defining the difference between the sun, moon, ascendant and midheaven, and looking at them in all the different signs of a zodiac. The second module, early next year, will be about putting different planets in signs and houses, and the third beginners module will be about explaining the aspects. Then there'll be intermediate and even advanced modules later next year. You can find all the details on the website stevejudd.co, and there's still places left. I'm limiting it to a certain number, but just there if you're interested. Meantime, Moon square Mars, Mars square Pluto, Moon opposite Pluto. Use it or lose it. Catch you later, world. Bye.